This also had to do with the directions that the light was moving in. They were moving in opposite directions. We call it in Kabbalah, when something is kind of going from above to below, we call it the Ar Yashar. And then when it's returning, when it's going back up, it's called the Or Chozer. But in Ari, today, in Chabad in particular, Or Chozer means the avoda that we do. And the Or Chozer is considered a positive thing. Within the world of Tohu, the Or Chozer was Gevuros. Interestingly enough, there's something about going down, which is you're going down to lahashpia, to give, to do chesed. But you're going back up. It's like you just want to it's like somebody who doesn't want to go to work. They want to learn in kollel all day. While it's nice to learn in kollel, it means they're going back to yeshiva instead of going down into the world. Hashem said, you go down, you go and do avoda in the world. And because it's there wasn't even any avoda, the Or Chozer wasn't exactly yet the avoda. There was nobody to do the avoda. It was just a concept. So it was very gvuridik. It was an element of gvur. So the clashing ends up creating this kind of another reason. There's multiple reasons that the Ari gives for the shvira. One of them that's most quoted is this lack of inter-inclusion. But it also has, for example, something to do with this idea of there are the energies, the orot that we say that come out of the nostrils, both sides of the mouth, the eyes, both ears, and the question is that the right and the left ear, for example, that means when I hear you from a side of acceptance and love, and when I hear you from a critical side, meaning there's two ways to listen to something. Same thing when I look at you. Do I look at you and say, whatever, find everything wrong in you? Or that's the left eye. Or the right eye, do you look? So the question is, when these two energies are combining, are they in a dialogue that's going to create a synthesis? Or are they going to continue to have a machlokus? That's what a machlokus. A machlokus could either come to something in a way that creates a light in a vessel that didn't exist yet. It creates a new vessel because two people have to get along. They have to come, like you said, with a third thing.
Right.
Or not. So that's, again, it's the same underlying concept, this idea of this, that the shvira has to do with where the light is coming out of, meaning there hasn't yet been a true dialogue to the point where the right and the left have truly heard each other and accepted from each other.
Right. We mentioned earlier about two eyes, two ears. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he was 4 years old, he asked his father, why is a person created with two eyes? And why with two ears? So his father told him, there are certain things in the world that you have to look with the right eye, and there's certain things you have to look with the left eye. The same thing with the ears. Exactly. So the question is, what about the mouth? How come there's one mouth?
But there's really two sides of the mouth, is what we call it.
But the Yerushalmi, in the Jerusalem Talmud, they ask how come a person is created only with one mouth. So the answer that's given very clearly is that if with one mouth a person could destroy a world, who knows what they can do with two?
Actually says that.
That's good. So let's move on a little bit.
Generally, also, when we speak already about Er Yashar Er Chezer, which means the light coming down, or Er Chezer, the light coming back up, it is reflected in every world. The blend
Correct.
of revelations and the vessels are basically these two directions. The revelations are basically Er Chezer, they want to go back up to their source, like a flame that clings to higher. The vessels is basically Er Yashar. It's keeping it down, it's containing it, and it's allowing that the next world should be able to receive from this revelation. This is basically the function of the vessels. The function of the vessels is basically to draw down to the lower worlds. And that's how it's transmitted from one world to another. And again, spiritual vessels, completely spiritual. There is no physical vessels here. We're talking about worlds that are completely removed from this physical world.
Yeah. So this idea of the light. Another concept is also that the light, it goes up and then goes down. It gets like it hits the bottom, so to speak, and then it's like, okay, I'm on the bottom. I'm in Malchus, let's say the lowest, and then it makes a U-turn. It's like for example, when you speak and your voice hits a wall, it echoes. So there's this idea that the light goes down, then it turns around and starts going up. But what happens is where it was, but is now leaving, now has a beginning of a somethingness. Then that becomes a place, so to speak, again, metaphorically, not a physical place. And that's also part of this. So part of really the, one way of looking at it in terms of architectural, an architect, there's a lot of ways of looking at this. Look at an architect is building something. So why would they build something they're going to break? It doesn't make sense. And Hashem definitely doesn't. It doesn't make sense to build something that he's going to break. So one answer is that, well, he's actually building what it is. He's building into the world the fixing of the brokenness. Nice. Or the fact that even after we'll be broken, we can be fixed, because that's built into us. In other words, when we're messed up, it comes from Tohu. But in that Tohu is this energy of also the potential to fix it. It's everything comes from it. It's not just that. In other words, what happened, the Ari explains that what happened, and this is actually in Chassidus. I don't know if it's in Chabad Chassidus, you'll tell me, but I know, for example, it's very much in Ishbitz Chassidus. But it's already in the Ari, but the Chassidus talks about a lot. What happens on a human level already happened on a cosmic level. In other words, when Adam and Chava eat from the tree of knowledge, that's their breaking of their vessels. It's the breaking of their paradisical state, their state of Gan Eden. It's a breaking of their trust of each other, of the snake, and so on and so forth. But that's just mirroring what already happened in the grander Olamos already.
The previous Rebbe in Discourse in 1931 says that they're all a chain reaction. The collapse of the world of chaos, and before that, the minimizing of the moon, and after that, the sin of the tree,
and then history afterwards,
and the Egel, the sin
exactly.
of the Egel. Everything is one chain reaction.
All connected to the original.
And then, on an individual level, it is on a personal level. Everyone has it in their world. There's a world of Teo, there's a world of Tikkun. For example, Chassidus explains that the world of Teo, the world of chaos, is the animal soul in the person. The animal soul comes from that world,
higher.
Which is higher.
In a way, why is it higher?
Why is it higher? Because
it's the Ana Emla. Hashem says, I want to be a king, right? I want to be the ruler of people that can potentially be atheists. You know why God likes atheists? You know why God likes atheists? He likes people who play hard to get. That's what he likes.
Yeah, so,
you heard that? Yeah. What does he have this Hana?
After the Helen. So what happens here is that there is the Nefesh Abam is the animal soul comes from that world, from the world of chaos. The godly soul is from the world of Elam Atikum, from correction. And because the animal soul comes from the world of chaos, there is an extra energy there that it contributes when it is converted to light to the godly soul. And therefore it says also that animals are stronger than people because they come from that world. Their source is that world. And by the way, this is the whole story of the portion of the gifts that Esau was sending to Jacob. All the animals and everything, they're not kosher animals. The animals are the animals because they were, some of them, because they were coming from that world, and Esau relates to that world. So this is how he brought the offerings to that in that.
Which also explains why Yitzchak liked Esau better, because Esau was from the world of Tohu, and Yaakov was from the world of Tikkun. He saw that. It's not pshat. Yitzchak wasn't just.
He has hunting in his mouth. What does it mean? It means also he has the sparks that he needs to take out from there. There's sparks over there.
So, and he saw that to change the world, it's not enough to have the power of tikkun. You need to have the power of tohu. That's a greater power. And he saw that in Esav. Question is, why was he wrong?
It's interesting because
The
he
whole-
wanted to
it's not so
bless
simple.
Yitzchak.
Esav, basically.
Yitzchak wanted to bless Esav.
Because he saw tikkun.
He saw that.
Saw a higher.
Right. So Chassidus explains that the mistake that took place over
Wasn't
here
ready
was
yet. He had to, there
number
wasn't his
one-
scholars
yeah.
with tikkun, with Yaakov.
Right.
They needed to get together.
Right, and also because the light could have destroyed Esav if he would have blessed Esav, or the light could have been swallowed up by Esav. And therefore, if it would have been swallowed up, there wouldn't have been anything accomplished. So therefore, it needed to go through Yaakov.
So again, I just want to make clear for those who are, for everybody here, Skype and those who are going to watch on YouTube, the way Kabbalah and Chassidus understand the Torah, the Chumash, the 5 books of Moses, is they read this into Chumash. So you mentioned a few verses, so we'll go through a few of them just to create kind of a perspective. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. For example, the Zohar says, Bereshis bara Elokim, with beginning, which means with Kasar and Chachma, bara Elokim. Elokim was created. Again, just
based on the Targum, right?
Yeah, it's a Zohar.
Yeah,
I'm just, in other words, when we say that we don't. The whole reason why we believe in a Ma'aseh Bereshis, Ma'aseh Bereshis means the Genesis story, but that's not in the text. It's understood. It's a Masorah. It's Kabbalah. That's what it is. So then, when we have things like that the discussion about the unformed mass, so to speak, of the world, that's really talking about a place that was and is no longer in that way. We call Olam Ato. We talk about a primal world that has to exist as an intermediate stage in the formation of what we're eventually coming towards now. Why? Because it will eventually give us the brokenness that we need to experience the separation and individuation that allows us to be separate enough from God to choose to do what we want. And then we go on, we talk about Jacob and Esau. That's another example. That could be about Tohu and Tikkun. Then we talk about, in Jacob's dealing with Lavan, we talk about the sheep and the Nekuda and Berudim, Akudim, the various flecks and spots and bands on the sheep. Or we talk about the 7 kings that's even more important. That each one vayimlach vayamas. These are very important things. How the Zohar and the Ari
and it's based on
take each of these psukim and bring it into Olam Ato. Explain
these
how
are all in Olam Ato.
Yeah. So
I was thinking that even in regards to Russia, when you think about communism, the time was about 7 rulers. Then to the next one, Chassidus explains. Kabbalah says it's Chesed. What was
is
the
that
name of
Gorbachev or Yeltsin?
Gorbachev, Michal, his name is Chesed.
Okay.
He broke through the whole idea. He was the beginning of Tikkun. So it's the 8th one, the beginning of